Check out the sick fade, bruh.
Ginger Runner.
What is up, everybody? Ethan Newberry, the Ginger Runner, here for another gingerrunner.com review today. Two reviews, both from New Balance. You are currently watching the review of the New Balance Vazee 2090. Fun new shoe from New Balance. I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty about this thing today, but first, if you have not already seen it, check out my review of the Zante version 2. Yes, this shoe has been out for a while, but I finally got around to reviewing it, and I'm glad I did. If you want to watch this review, the link is in the description. I'll also throw a link up here on the screen later in this review, but in the meantime, back to the Vazee 2090. You might remember my Vazee Pace review from a while back. I really like the Vazee Pace. This is a bit heavier, more durable brethren called the Vazee 2090. It is like the Zante that I'm also reviewing today, but it's a bit heavier, got a bit more snap, a bit more structure to it. Therefore, it is also a bit more shoe than the Vazee Pace, with a lot more going on underfoot. As far as stack height, we got 2620 with a 6mm drop. Compared to the Vazee Pace, the 2090 is quite a bit heavier, more structured around the midfoot, as you can tell by the upper materials, and most noticeably, they feature a layer of N2 midsole material right here at the bottom of the lateral side of the midfoot and heel, and even a bit of that N2 right there across the forefoot. The shoe is an interesting ride. I think many of you who like to go mid-distance or a little bit longer will really enjoy, especially if you're looking for a bit more structure and a bit more responsiveness or snappiness in your shoe. It's an interesting follow-up to the Vazee Pace in addition to the Vazee line. Is it necessary? I'm going to talk a bit about that in today's review. Let's get on with things that I like. And I want to make sure that I point out that the Vazee 2090 is very similar to the likes from the Vazee Pace because the two shoes are so similar. With that said, let's start with responsiveness. A lot of the shoes in this realm of build quality and responsiveness tend to be really bulky, large cinder blocks that you attach to your foot from other manufacturers, but this is a decently built, responsive ride that gives you that snap that you need, and I'm really digging the midsole. I like what I'm getting out of the shoe, especially in the distances anywhere from 10 to 13 miles. Durability. The upper materials in this are more built than the Vazee Pace. It tends to be a more durable shoe. Even the outsole is a bit thicker, a bit more structured, more connected, and just the combination of all the materials gives you a more durable ride. I think you're going to get plenty of mileage out of this shoe. Let's move on to things that I dislike. Of the Vazee line, this is definitely a heavy shoe. It's 10.4 ounces in my size 11. It's a lot heavier than the Vazee Pace, and I even thought the Vazee Pace was a little bit on the heavy side, but was able to look past it purely because the ride was so fun. Well, I'm not totally bothered by the 10.5 ounces compared to the Vazee Pace, and you're like, well, why? It's heavier. It's a similar ride. Why would I want to put that on my foot? The upper, I think these thicker materials, denser materials, there's not a lot of mesh up here, really only over the toe box. It just contributes to a more constrained, hotter, heavier shoe. So in my time with it, I tended to have a bit of an issue with the upper materials. I mean, this diamond texture is really fun and cool to look at, but it's also a bit over the top. And finally, the N2 midsole material. I think it's fine. It definitely adds a bit more rigidity on the lateral side of the foot, but it tended to get in the way of the overall comfort of the ride for me and really took away from that responsive suppleness of the Vazee Pace. I get by having a different shoe from the Vazee Pace, but yet in the same line, you can have a similar ride and add elements like this, but it really makes me question, well, why would I go for this if I could just go for the Vazee Pace, which is what I would do if given the choice. With that being said, I just felt the shoe was so similar to the Vazee Pace that there weren't a lot of likes or dislikes because everything from that shoe kind of carried over. Now remember, I am partnering up with Running Warehouse, so if you guys have any questions about this shoe, you want to find out more information, or you want to get a pair for yourself, just visit the link in the description. There is also a coupon for 10% off, which always helps and can be applied to pretty much everything in their store. So check that out. Now it's time to get on with the points. Quality, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. Yes, it's a more durable shoe, but because of the added layers, the thickness, the heat, the N2 materials, you just have a lot going on. Comfort, 4 out of 5. I'm going to round up a little bit. Yes, it's a comfortable ride. I like the Vazee Pace a lot. This isn't too much different. That N2 material definitely helps bring this shoe down just a little bit. I do, however, prefer this shoe over the Zante for the longer stuff just because it has a bit more underfoot. Moving on to price, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 because $150? Nah, that's pretty expensive for this shoe, and there are so many other choices that you can get for less than that, even from the New Balance line, so I'm going to mark them down for the price. And finally, looks. This shoe is okay. I don't mind the looks of this shoe. The other version is black. At least in the men's version, there's only 2. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. That brings our grand total to 14 out of 20 for the Vazee 2090. It is an interesting shoe, so when doing the buy, try, or why, I'm leaning towards the why, just because there is the Vazee Pace, there is the Zante series, which are all so similar, and they all deserve a try. But if you're going to get a shoe like one of those, this is worth looking into, but I'm also like, why so expensive? So take that all into consideration when looking at the Vazee 2090. And that, my friends, is it for this review. Don't forget, I just posted a review review of the Zante version 2, so go check that out. You guys are great. If you liked this review or liked any of the reviews that I do on this channel, make sure that you like, you share, and you subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/thegingerrunner. I'm posting new reviews, new films, new shows every single week. And of course, follow across social media. I'm doing all sorts of cool stuff on all of the platforms. On Twitter, it's @thegingerrunner. On Facebook, facebook.com/thegingerrunner. On Instagram, it's @EthanNewberry, and I've been incorporating some of those daily stories into there, so go check it out. And finally, on gingerrunner.com. Every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm doing live shows here on the channel where you can interact with my guests right there on the spot. It's pretty cool. And of course, if you want to help keep the lights on and the mics hot, every little bit counts. Go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner, and for as little as $1 a month, you help keep this channel alive, you help the films get made, you help travel costs, cover all the bulb replacements and everything. Consider it if you have not joined already. And that is it. Get out there, train hard, race harder, and party the hardest. I know I am. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.